The oral birth control pill first went on the market in 1960. Margaret Sanger, a feminist, set out to create a once-daily pill for women so they could enjoy sex without the fear of unwanted pregnancy. The pill was also seen as a solution to the increase in population. People advocated for the use of birth control in poorer countries in order to limit population growth. There was very little talk of using it to enjoy sex. This idea died out quickly, and the pill began to directly affect the lives of many Americans. In the 1960s, the sexual revolution was just taking off. The pill helped to move this along. For women, getting married meant serving their husbands, and the pill challenged this idea. Women fought to be liberated from the shackles of constant childbearing. The birth control pill impacted American society by bringing sex into the open and challenged gender roles between men and women. Before the pill went on the market, sex was a topic only spoken about behind closed doors. The Comstock Law is a good representation of what life was like at this time. It prohibited the distribution of items that spoke about and encouraged contraception. This law mainly appealed to religious groups that did not believe in contraception. Since the pill was made so that women didn't have to have children if they didn't want to, this disrupted the pre-existing norm. When the pill arrived, the Comstock Law made it difficult for women to access the pill, especially if they weren't married. Other laws were passed that prevented unwed women from getting the pill. In many cases, women lied about their married status in order to get contraception. Despite these obstacles, women, married or not, flocked to their doctors and demanded the pill. Margaret Sanger also advertised birth control clinics with posters. She appealed specifically to married women, saying that if they didn't want to have more children, then they didn't have to. These ideas were also present in her newsletter, The Woman Rebel. She worked with other women, such as Catherine McCormick, in order to establish clinics. They wrote letters back and forth discussing how to execute their idea. Both of them faced obstacles as many investors did not believe in their cause. Sanger's activism was important in transitioning American society away from a place where patients typically do as their doctors say, not the other way around. If their doctors refused to give them the pill, women could go to newly established clinics instead. This is one of the first examples of women taking control of their bodies and sexual health. They told their doctors what was best for them, not the other way around. Planned Parenthood was a result of this movement. The name Planned Parenthood was very important. It presented the idea that, yes, women would have children at some point, just not now. This made doctors more inclined to write prescriptions for birth control. They were not totally disregarding the age-old tradition of childbearing, just postponing it. There are still a lot of debates surrounding reproductive rights today. Abortion is among the biggest. Groups argued that it is a natural law for women to have children, and the pill hindered this from happening. Conservative groups use similar reasoning today when speaking against abortion. A lot of this controversy was connected to the Catholic Church. In an interview between Margaret Sanger and reporter Mike Wallace, Wallace grilled Sanger on her reasons for creating the pill and whether or not she is against the church. In this interview, although this was conducted long after it went on the market, Margaret Sanger is put under scrutiny for the pill. Her accomplishments are disregarded since it focuses on the moral reasons for the pill and puts her at odds with the church. There is no speak about the health benefits. Wallace only asks her about her position when it comes to the church and whether or not she is against it since she created the pill. At this point in time, religion, especially Catholicism, has a big impact on the culture. It seemed as though any new ideas needed to be approved by the church. Theories that it made women more promiscuous circled around as more and more women started to take the pill. Rumors surfaced that it would lead to anarchy. These kinds of articles were mostly directed at parents who had children who were becoming sexually active. A lot of this information was being spread around by the church to Christian parents who did not grow up with the pill. They grew worried that this new pill would make their daughters want to have sex before marriage. Since sex was just beginning to work its way into popular society, this was a very scary concept for those conservative parents. They focused more on making sure their kids were upholding the laws of the Catholic Church, rather than their sexual health. The pill also inadvertently questioned gender roles between men and women. Men were supposed to impregnate their wives, and since this was no longer solely up to them, some felt that it threatened their masculinity. People such as Phyllis Schlafly advocated against birth control for this very reason. She explains that the woman's liberationist, on the other hand, is imprisoned by her own negative view of herself and of her place in the world around her. American society was moving out of an era where men make all the decisions, and people were frightened by this. They took comfort in thinking that it was all because of the pill. Aside from the religious opposition to the pill, there were many people that embraced it. Not only did the pill have a physical effect on women, but it affected their family lives as well. They were able to enjoy sex with their husbands. Some felt that it actually strengthened their relationships. Sex was no longer strictly for procreation. It was something that people could enjoy without consequence. Also, women were the ones who were taking the pill, not the men. This gave them a sense of ownership over their sexuality. It was no longer solely up to the male to use contraception. The female could decide whether or not she wanted to risk getting pregnant. This also allowed for increased communication between partners. They were working together as a team. As the years went on and the pill gained popularity, sex became a normal human activity. In fact, by the late 1980s, premarital sex was the norm for both men and women. Those who were growing up when the pill had just gone on the market were having children. Their children had never experienced what life was like without the pill. Looking at the pill today, the attitude around it has changed drastically. It is relatively common in American society, and women do not use it solely as a contraceptive. It helps them to regulate their menstrual cycles and increases conveniency. It also allows women to do the same things as men. They are breaking down barriers, and whether or not they take the pill no longer determines who they are. The pill itself has also changed over time. It is a lot safer than it once was. When it was first developed, the amount of hormones in it was significantly more. Modern science has refined the ingredients so that women can take it without bad side effects. The societal changes would not be possible without the dedication of Margaret Sanger. Looking away from the pill itself, attitudes surrounding sex have shifted dramatically since it went on the market. Premarital sex is very common, and access to contraceptives has increased. Sex ed is also a part of the curriculum in most schools. This is a big step up from where the U.S. was when the pill first went on the market. Sex is no longer something to be feared. It is recognized as a part of human life. The shame surrounding it has decreased significantly. Although people, especially women, are still shamed for having sex, the pill has played a big asset in the fight for reproductive and sexual rights. Even though the pill is no longer specific to married women, it has bettered expectations surrounding marriage. Marriage is now thought of as a partnership. Both partners bear the responsibility for contraception. There is a mutual respect that was not present before the pill. Overall, the pill helped to accomplish just what Margaret Sanger set out to do. It rid women of the shackles of constant childbearing. It also decreased the stigma regarding premarital sex and encouraged communication between doctors and partners. Women were able to take ownership over their own bodies. The pill has helped to create a society where men and women can work together. The pill helped to level out the playing field, and without the pill, American society today would be stuck in the mindset that birth control is something to be feared, not embraced.